In Prayer, The Art of Believing, Neville Goddard redefines prayer not as a religious ritual of asking an external God for help, but as a deeply psychological and spiritual practice rooted in the power of belief, imagination, and feeling. Goddard's central thesis is that prayer is the art of consciously impressing the subconscious mind with the assumption that a desired condition already exists. Rather than pleading for change, effective prayer involves accepting inwardly that the change has already taken place. This inward acceptance, when emotionally felt and sustained, becomes the creative force that shapes outer reality. At the foundation of Goddard's philosophy lies the law of belief. According to this principle, whatever an individual genuinely believes to be true, regardless of its present physical appearance, must eventually manifest in their experience. Belief, however, does not operate at the level of intellectual agreement or casual affirmation. Instead, it resides within the subconscious mind, which responds not to logical arguments or spoken words, but to impressions formed through imagination and emotional conviction. The subconscious mind, in Goddard's framework, is the medium through which all external conditions are created. It accepts as true whatever is felt to be real and proceeds to express that acceptance through the events and circumstances of daily life. Goddard distinguishes between the conscious and subconscious aspects of the mind to explain this process. The conscious mind is the seat of reasoning, decision-making, and observation. It selects desires and imagines possibilities, but it does not possess creative power on its own. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is the creative agent that brings these mental impressions into physical expression. Once an idea is accepted by the subconscious through feeling, it becomes a command that the mind must carry out. Therefore, the purpose of prayer is to move an idea from the conscious mind into the subconscious by generating a sense of emotional reality around it. Feeling plays a decisive role in this transfer of belief. Goddard repeatedly emphasizes that feeling is the secret to successful prayer. Words spoken mechanically, or thoughts entertained casually have little influence on the subconscious, unless they are accompanied by emotional acceptance. When a person imagines a desired outcome and experiences the feeling that would naturally arise if that outcome were already achieved, the subconscious mind accepts this imagined state as real. Over time, this assumption must externalize itself, as the subconscious consistently works to make the internal belief visible in the outer world. This process of assumption forms the basis of what Goddard calls effective prayer. To pray successfully, one must first define a clear desire. Then, in a relaxed and receptive mental state, the individual imagines the fulfillment of that desire as though it has already occurred. The focus should not be on the steps or methods by which the desire will come to pass, but on the end result itself. By visualizing scenes that imply the wish fulfilled, such as receiving congratulations, observing physical healing, or experiencing financial security, the individual creates a mental environment that mirrors the desired reality. Sustaining this imaginative act with emotional conviction allows the subconscious mind to accept it as fact. Goddard recommends performing this form of prayer in what he calls the state akin to sleep, a deeply relaxed condition in which the conscious mind becomes passive and the subconscious more receptive to suggestion. This state occurs naturally just before falling asleep or upon waking, and can also be induced through meditation or quiet reflection. In this condition, imagination becomes vivid and doubt is minimized, making it easier to impress new beliefs upon the subconscious mind. Faith, in this context, is not a matter of blind trust or hopeful expectation, but of emotional certainty. True faith involves feeling inwardly that the desired condition is already present, regardless of current appearances. Impatience, anxiety, or repeated questioning signal disbelief and weaken the impression made during prayer. Gratitude and calm confidence, however, reinforce the assumption and align the individual with its manifestation. Another key element of Goddard's teaching is the idea of mental influence, which he describes as thought transmission. Since the subconscious mind connects all individuals on a deeper level, beliefs held about others can affect their behavior and attitudes. Imagining positive outcomes for others, or assuming harmonious relationships, can influence interactions in subtle but meaningful ways. This understanding leads to an ethical application of imagination, encouraging individuals to imagine for others what they would wish for themselves. Goddard also introduces the practice of revision as a means of transforming past experiences. By mentally revisiting an unpleasant event and reimagining it as one would have preferred it to occur, the individual replaces the original emotional impression with a new one. The subconscious mind then accepts this revised memory as truth, altering future reactions and outcomes based on the updated belief. Ultimately, prayer, the art of believing, teaches that reality is not imposed from without, but generated from within. External conditions are reflections of internal states, and changing one's beliefs through imagination and feeling inevitably changes one's experience. Prayer is therefore not an appeal for divine intervention, but an act of creative partnership with the deeper mind. Goddard concludes that by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and maintaining that assumption with faith and gratitude, individuals can consciously shape the course of their lives. In this view, prayer becomes both a spiritual discipline and a psychological technique, empowering individuals to move from passive hope to deliberate creation,